out hunting again, you might ask? Of course I am. Welcome to the show. This is SME HUB. My name is Success Caminist. Now, what comes to mind when you hear concrete? I'm thinking bricks and blocks. Yeah, that's what I thought until I came in contact with Concrete Logistics Limited. They are a multifaceted construction solutions company. Come along with me as we interview the CEO, and he's going to be talking to us about all the nitty-gritties that concerns this business.
My name is Koyi Rhodes. I'm the CEO of a company called Concrete Logistics. We're a specialist concrete waterproofing firm. We started 10 years ago looking at the problems of concrete construction in Nigeria, especially as it had to do with waterproofing. Over the years, we've expanded to several other aspects of the construction industry, including construction chemicals, additives, and we also do services like scaffolding iron, dewatering, and we do pump renting in terms of concrete pumps, street pumps. Basically, every aspect of the construction industry that we think needs modernization, we're focused on in terms of mechanical production and mechanical processes, things like plastering of walls mechanically, pumping of screed mechanically, and also pump of ready-mix concrete. Basically, most people think concrete is some kind of solid structure, but in actual fact, concrete is very porous. And what happens is that people build their homes and all and think that, just by mixing sand and cement and aggregates, they produce the concrete. The most particular thing about concrete is that concrete's best friend is water for hydration, and concrete's worst enemy is water too. Basically, you need water to create concrete, but water also is the main product that destroys concrete. What happens most times is that, especially in a place like Lagos, is that Lagos is on very low lands. Most of the ground in Lagos has a lot of below grade high water tables. So in places like the islands and all, Lekki, Ikoyi and all, there's so much water below the ground, and this is what causes all the issues of rising dam, water coming, and basically what water does to concrete is that when water penetrates concrete, it damages the reinforcement, which makes the concrete spar and crack, and that immediately starts the destruction process on concrete. So it is essential, if not critical, that if you really want your building to last, and then it also depends on really buildings to last 70, 80 years, you need to be conscious of the amount of waterproofing you might require for the concrete. For us, we started 10 years ago with a Canadian company called Crichton, who we represent in the West African region. Crichton is actually the inventor of crystalline waterproofing. meaning that they created the product. Crystalline waterproofing really is a very, very high-tech sort of waterproofing where your concrete itself becomes the waterproofing membrane. And this helps in growing and making the, almost, the way I can put it that, is like waterproofing the concrete from within, you know, and like I said, as the market developed, we moved on to other products, and we represent an American company called Laticrete, and we also have a Greek company called Boa. These three companies are basically construction chemicals, and the solutions they offer includes epoxy type floors, adhesives for fixing tiles, admixtures for screed, for plaster. We also have other products that do. We have a bonding agent, which is Larsen, which is American. That is also for your construction when you have to put old concrete with new one, where you bond it. Because the whole essence of our business is to find solutions to make your building durable, and simple things like admixtures. There are so many different types of admixtures, you know. I mean, in terms of what you want your screed or concrete to do. It's not just sand, water, cement. That is a basic thing, you know. Concrete itself is a very complex product, and if you mess with it, you know, it messes you up. So there are different admixtures for different aspects of construction that we focus on, but also additives, which is basically for applying tiles or your swimming pool, mosaic tiles. They're also broken into so many different spectrums of it, you know. The kind of adhesive you need for your pool, which is a submerged area, is totally different from what you need for your external walls. What you need for marble is different from what you need from vitrified tiles. So there's a wide range of applications which in Nigeria we don't know, or let me say that we see as one. So what we've tried to do is give you a spectrum of products that kind of addresses various sectors of this simple construction systems. I mean, what drove into this? Most of my life I'd kind of grown up in the construction industry, because I really started off my life as a marble person. You know, my family owned the marble company, and that was what I started my career in. And over the years, you know, I'm a very curious person, so I tend to follow my guts, you know, and I looked at Lagos, and I realized that most of where new construction is going towards the sandfield areas of the islands, and I know that the high water tables there makes those areas very difficult to build in. So in my sense, I kind of asked that what really can you do to protect construction investments in those areas? And that's how I discovered, that's the word I'll use, I discovered concrete waterproofing, you know, because I realized that most of the buildings there will really not last long. I mean, in terms of proper structural life. Most buildings in the island will not, because they did not take into cognizance the effect of water on the structures and construction in that area. That was what made me think about concrete waterproofing. We have arrangements with our suppliers, since most of the suppliers we represent were the distributors for either Nigeria and some of the West African countries. But the biggest issue about importation in Nigeria is that it's extremely expensive, and it's been growing because you struggle to get foreign exchange, you struggle to get you struggle to open documents. There's too much red tape, there's too many documents to fill, there are too many processes, so it tends to make everything expensive. But the worst part of it is that our ports and the whole important infrastructure we have for bringing goods in, especially the Lagos ports, are totally not good. I mean, what I say, they're totally not, I mean, for a country like Nigeria, I think they're totally in disgrace. And in those environments, what we find is that there are too many agencies, the infrastructure is totally run down. This results in long delays in bringing the goods out of the port. Heavy cost in demurrages, and even, I mean, for example, it's actually cheaper to bring a container freight-wise from Europe to Lagos than to bring a container from Apapa to Ikeja. How terrible it is to do work here based on importation. There's so many things, I mean, issues we face here that in normal economies you shouldn't, and it has to do with our systems, our agencies, and our procedures for importing. The Nigerian market is supposedly a very big market, but it's also probably the most difficult market you could come into, because there are too many issues that you have to face, which at the end of the day, what all these issues create is higher cost, both to the importer and the consumers. It has, over the years, gotten worse. The sense that in this environment, you know, it almost looks like it's a war between government agencies and the businessmen. They come in and always do things that totally makes it impossible for you to do your work. Firstly, the port is really not, I'm trying to get a word, but for a nation like ours, you know, it's a disgrace. Also, the amount of red tape, from the customs to SUNCAP to, I mean, we probably have like 10 agencies you have to face in the port. I mean, goods come in many countries it takes 2 days. Even West African countries, in Togo, if your goods come in within a 2 or 3 day period, it's out. everything being equal. But in Nigeria, sometimes the ship doesn't get to berth for a month. So if you have a product that is time sensitive, you start to realize that the shelf life of those products are already depreciating just based on infrastructure issues or management issues within the Nigerian shipping environment. Basically, like I said, most of the products, in Nigeria, one of the biggest issues we have in construction is that we don't tend to improve over time, and new systems coming everywhere in the world. We have new systems for different kind of applications that come in. And what I found in the Nigerian market is that we've kind of stuck to things that we knew probably in the 70s. And for you to really bring in products here, especially new construction solutions, it's almost like you've got to re-educate the clients. So most of the clients we face or focus on are either construction companies, architects, structural engineers, QS, and the developers. And the point is, you have to educate them. And we've been able to, especially with the crystalline waterproofing, and the product called Kim, we were able to convince major construction firms like Kappa & Bato, ITB, and quite a few others we've worked with to use that product, which we've found over the years to be very good. And we've also had to convince architects about the different application each product will be. We've tried to make people realize that within the construction of a building, you have areas called wet areas. Wet areas are areas where you have bathrooms, kitchen, and those areas, no matter how you do it, if there's water going to go there, you've got to waterproof it. A lot of people think, if I put cement on the floor, it's fine. No, that's not waterproofing. Waterproofing is basically to prevent water passing through that concrete structure. And architects like Adeni Koka, Magic Dumi, MOE, we've worked with on quite a few major projects, CCP, and the consultants are open to new ideas, but sometimes some of these new ideas actually cost more money, and they tend to always try and move towards a price thing. But really, at the end of the day, most of the products we try to sell has to do with value. My own main view is that how long do you want that your building to last for? These days, advertising is mostly done on social media. We try to make sure that our Instagram, our Facebook, and it's difficult to adjust, especially for people like me that grew up at the time where we used to use a lot of billboards and a lot of newspaper adverts, but we're adjusting to it and we're focusing on social media. That's actually still not easy because we're trying to really target professionals. So maybe we looked at LinkedIn and try and get to architects and consultants there. And it works, but most of them, I really think that face-to-face thing is also still very important when you do presentation. And with COVID coming in, thank God for Zoom, we've tried to adjust our presentation to more Zoom-like approach. And as I was saying about concrete logistics, we also have responded to quite a few things. And why did we do that? We basically adjust to the experiences we get in the market. When we started repairing roof slabs, we realized that most of the buildings had issues with roof leakages. We needed to break their floors, we needed to break the floor, we needed to move the sand and cement we need for the screed to floors like we did. An example was Zenith Bank head office. They had to redo their roof slab, and we did the roof slab a few years ago. And there was no way you could get the materials up to the top floor. We had used one side lift, and can you imagine trying to move that much sand and cement with lifts? So every time we confront those problems, we try and find solutions, and that was how we got into screed pumps, where that means we basically produce the screed on the ground floor and we pump them up to the top floor. Also, we do a lot of rising damp repairs, and that also requires you break walls and replaster. And a lot of times the plastering done by a very good plaster man, a day would be like 8 square meters, but then we also thought of putting mechanical plaster pumps for that. So, but the market does resist a lot of these things because we tend to look at them as too expensive to do. But in terms of time, it saves time, it makes the work goes faster. We also have pumps for concrete, instead of when you get to a site, you see manual mixing, which automatically makes the quality of the concrete bad. Not bad, but not up to par. And we use that so we got into pumping of concrete too, where we can bring up pumps into your project and help you in pumping your concrete to whatever levels you want to go. Running a business in Nigeria, I think one of the biggest problems I have found personally is the employees. In the sense that, maybe they just are under so much pressure because from all kinds of different external factors, like no power, the Nigerian factor. So we have probably between 40 to 60, depending on what aspect of the business, 40 to 60 people employed by us. And as we expand, what dawns on me is that, we keep building, at least from my experience now, is that we've been able to expand our business quite big, but we really haven't gotten the right people to run them, in terms of real hardcore professionals. And this unfortunately makes us start looking at expatriates to come in, and it's just a reality. I'm looking at expatriates to do certain jobs, not because we can't have Nigerians, but I think because the whole environment makes it difficult for people to focus on doing the work you expect of them, and that is a major issue too. I have no regrets. In terms of whatever I do, in terms of business, there are really no regrets. When you want to go into a business, you need to really study it well. I mean, I do that, but at the same time, you also have to listen to your gut feeling, not your brain. In the sense that I think that one thing about Nigeria, there's so much undone. I mean, and this is just because of the nature of development over the last 40, 50 years. A lot of things that should be in place are not there. And that's where the opportunity is, so you should really just look at finding your own corner or your own niche. And what I mean by that is that my general idea about business is that you should do it modular, meaning that you should scale it from a very minimum size and slowly multiply, expand it. You try small size, see how minimum you can start it with, and see if that works. Then you now expand it. And I really think people should make their revenue their capital. That means that what I'm saying is that the less money you can borrow, the better, because the cost of borrowing and the conditions of borrowing from day one makes the whole project dicey. And but like I said, as bad as Nigeria is, there's so much undone, and really that is where the opportunity is. But I think you guys should just kind of try and find something that you really study, you really look at it, and find a solution to if you can find any solution to provide, you find a business.
Now we've spoken about importation and products. We've also learned about how essential it is to waterproof concrete. If you're moving to make new constructions, you know that this piece of information will be helpful because it contributes to the longevity of your buildings. Now, if there's anything I am taking away from this episode, it is that hard work pays, but smart work pays even better. Make sure to follow iBrandTV on all social media platforms. We are on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more informative videos such as this. My name is Success Caminus. Until I come your way next time, if you are an SME, SME Hub will find you. Goodbye.